Aloha, aloha, are you magical beings? This is your High Witch of Hawaii, Kahu OniLuv, wishing you a beautiful, happy new year, 2022, or as here in Hawaii, we say Hau'oli Makahiki Ho. So yes, welcome to this video. We are celebrating the new year as far as 2022, and then we are also going to be entering into the Chinese New Year, which is the year of the tiger, which follows the lunar calendar. We're going to take a dive into what's going to be coming up for the Lunar New Year. Now, I myself follow mainly the Lunar New Year calendar. I mean, of course, here in America, we use the Gregorian style calendar, which is from January to December. And that's why we're having a Happy New Year, or we're celebrating 2022 right now. So yeah, it's actually the second day of January here as I'm filming this video. So by the time you watch it, it'll be a little bit afterwards. But I just want to wish all of you a Happy New Year. So in this video, we're going to briefly discuss Feng Shui and the practice of Feng Shui that I do and how it can help all of us prepare for the upcoming year. And the reason why I wanted to do this video is because this coming year, it's not looking so great. I'm choosing to share more of what I do with all of you here. And so just before we continue, if you go to my Patreon, I have a new tier. It's called Feng Shui Magic Plus. Click on that. It has all the workshops that we're having here in our clinic and our apothecary. Plus, it's going to have month-to-month update information for the year of the tiger. And you're going to want to know because of what's coming up. Let's just get started into what's happening. Normally, I do the calculations at a certain amount of time. I normally do it like in January. But this year, I was guided to start a little earlier with looking at what was coming up. And I'm glad I did, because it didn't look good when I first started looking into the energy flow. And that's how come I wanted to do this as soon as possible. And that's how come I started getting the online version as soon as possible for those of you that are wanting to also follow. Now, Chinese astrology is the path of studying the stars and the planets, just like Western astrology, yeah? But I normally follow Chinese astrology before I do the whole Western astrology. So here in Hawaii, the reason why many of us practice Feng Shui is because we're made up of different ethnicities, yeah? So here in Hawaii, it's really a melting pot. And many of us are not just one ethnicity. We're actually mixed. We're not even half. We're not even like biracial. We're like literally a multi-racial bunch of people. Like I have more than five ethnicities, more bloodlines coursing through my veins. So we have so many different cultures. And so one of the main cultures we do have an influence in is Asian culture. And with that, we have a lot of spiritual practices when it comes to that. And a lot of us are some kind of Asian. And so one of the ancient styles of tracking the planets and tracking the stars that we still have today is Chinese astrology. And so many of us follow that path. Just like some of us follow the Western astrology, some of us combine the two. There are many ways of studying the stars, and each indigenous culture has their way of doing it. But for this process, we're going to focus on Feng Shui because it's one of the more popular ones. And especially here in Hawaii, where we really do practice Feng Shui. Now, there's Feng Shui in every culture. It's just they call it something different, okay? And the reason why I say that is because what is Feng Shui? Feng Shui is simply this: to harmonize and bring balance to the energy flow. And that's exactly what Feng Shui is. It can get very into depth at some points. But for this video, we're not going to even go there. We're just going to scratch the surface. I'm just going to share with you what's going on and how it kind of is. But for the purpose of it, what is Feng Shui? And that is to harmonize and balance the energy flows that are coming in. Now, there are many schools of Feng Shui. There's schools from the ancient way of doing things, and there's even the new age evolved ways of practicing feng shui. Now, I stick to the ancient, more traditional way, and that's more of the directional method of doing things, more calculations, more you actually need to know where north, south, east, and west is, because in the practice of feng shui and energy itself, energy comes in all directions. So when you're practicing with the planets, when you're practicing with the stars, all of these energies are coming in from all different directions. It's not just set, yeah, in a certain space. Now, some of the new age, more evolved practices of feng shui have that, and it does work, and I tried many of them, but what I found is the traditional directional energy method that I like to use, and I've been using, and I find that for me it's much more accurate, and especially for my clients and my students, they found a difference by practicing the directional method of feng shui. Now, why do I use feng shui? Well, just like anything, because of what my practice is, and it mainly involves energy work. And so because it involves energy work, whether I'm using magic to, you know, help somebody heal, or magic into seeing the past, present, or future, or magic to even move the energies in the world, we're still using energy. And so the reason why I use feng shui is because it's for me personally, the principles and teaching of feng shui, of making sure the energies are harmonized and in balance, because once anything is harmonizing and they're in the flow of balance, automatically things work out. Yeah, it's like nature, the seasons. Nature has a flow. It's a natural flow from birth to death. And so that is why I practice feng shui, because it brings a healing, a magic, an understanding to many questions that people have. Even I had, as I was training and growing and learning about it. The overall aspect of feng shui is to just balance and making sure that the energy is flowing good. Well, I shouldn't say good, but just flowing in its natural flowy state. Yeah, we'll call it a flowy state. So now, what does 2022 have in store for us, especially the year of the tiger? Now, here we go. This is what concerned me. When I went into the calculations and I saw the energies that were coming up, I realized that this year was going to be a cleansing energy. It was going to be an energy of destruction. Really, it is. Now, you go back, I always tell people this, you know, the planets and the stars are here for a reason. When it comes to the practice of feng shui, there's good luck and there's bad luck, and however that good energy, bad energy. And so whenever you look at certain parts of your life, you can see there's certain stars and planets that were aligned and not aligned. And you can look back at when good things were happening in your life and bad things were happening in your life. I say that all the time. You can actually do your own, if you go and do your own research and you look at it, you'll see like, oh my God, this was a time this was happening and my life wasn't going how it was, or this is the time this was happening and I was enjoying life. You know, just like how I say Mercury retrograde. If you go and look back at all the Mercury retrogrades, you will find at some point in your life that during a Mercury retrograde, that's when the issues came up. Yeah. So same thing like this, same thing with the astrology. Yeah. So in feng shui, we do use the Chinese method of astrology, which is the zodiac signs they use is animals. Yeah. Just like the Western astrology, they have different archetypes in the Western astrology, like Scorpio, Pisces, Virgo, Taurus, etc. But in the Chinese, they use animal signs because, like any other indigenous culture, they represent their teachings to nature. And so this is where the animal signs came from. And there's many stories of how the animals played into it, but I'm not going to get into it. You can go Google it. It's all over the internet. But I kind of want to get into what 2022, the year of the tiger, has in store once the Lunar New Year hits. Now, like I said, there's going to be a cleansing energy. It's a destructive energy, and that's what I was concerned about. And the reason why I talked about, if you go back in your life, you can look at, the different ups and downs that you've had, because if you look at the pandemic in 2020, the stars had actually predicted a mass change in the world. And then in 2021, it also predicted an alleviation of that. Yeah. And then, of course, coming into 2022, or the year of the tiger, yes, we now have a little disruption there. Actually, no, a whole lot of disruption. And it's going to bring a cleansing energy. And for many of our animal signs, we need to be aware that this energy is going to come and disrupt our lives, whether we accept it or not, whether we want it or not, whether we are familiar with this or not, whether we have the belief in this or we don't have the belief in this. You can't get away from nature. We live in this physical world. That's how it is. So, how do we get through this type of energy? Yeah, that's going to come, because it is a cleansing energy. And so one of the best ways, the most immediate way I can definitely share with you, I'm going to share with you 3 things that can help you, okay? Number 1, first of all, your spiritual practice is going to be huge. If you watch me, if you've been watching me, if you're newly watching me, that means you have an inkling to a spiritual practice, or you've been practicing for a while, okay? If you don't have a spiritual practice, well, you better get on it. If you have been practicing for a while, you better increase that. Your spiritual practice is going to be huge in this part. And what I mean by that is practice daily. If you haven't been practicing daily, practice daily. Make sure whatever practice that you're in, make sure you're doing it. Like many of our practices that cross global and cultural boundaries is meditation. For those of us, you're going to have to meditate every day. That's just the bottom line, because you're going to have to be in balance with your spirit coming 2022. Yeah. So increase your spiritual practice. Number 2, journal. You're going to have to journal. That's just the bottom line. You're going to have to bring your thoughts onto paper. Journaling is going to be one way of really working through the cleansing energy that is coming. Why? Because it's going to help you focus on removing whatever ick that is in you. And we're all here. We all have things that we need to grow and learn from. Yeah. Now, number 3, your daily devotions. No matter who you pray to, no matter who you honor, no matter what it is, daily honoring devotions is important, because it's going to keep you connected. So, 1 is your spiritual practice. Get one and increase the practice. Number 2 is your journaling. And number 3 is daily devotional or daily communion, daily connection. However it is for you in your practice. Yeah. So, again, because this cleansing energy is coming, we have so many things that could possibly happen. Yeah, we have the virus that just went crazy, and some of us believe that the virus exists, some of us don't. But it don't matter. It still disrupted our lives. The idea of it disrupted our lives. We don't know what could happen. There's so many different variants. I was joking with the high witches. I'm like, oh my God, is Corona going to have some grandchildren coming up this coming tiger year? Who knows, right? But what I'm definitely saying is that because of these energies that are coming, your spiritual practice has become more needed than ever before, especially with this cleansing energy that is coming. Now, don't think this cleansing energy is just some kind of, oh, we're gonna get rid of stuff. This is the cleansing energy that's coming. No, this really needs to be taken heart to heart, because this cleansing energy is going to cleanse. And for many of us, we're not ready for this cleansing energy, and it is going to take a toll on us. Now, for some of us that understand what cleansing, both all mentally, physically, and spiritually is, we are going to rock it. We are going to go through. But for many of us that don't, it's going to be difficult. And for those of us that are going to rock it, help those that are not going to, help those that don't understand. And there's many of us that don't understand, and it's not our fault. It's not the fault that you don't understand. It's just, it's time to learn. That's all it is. So, this is your High Witch of Hawaii, Kahu OniLuv, wishing you well in the year of the tiger that's about to come up. Be well, be blessed, continue to practice, do you. Also, again, go to my Patreon. Get on that monthly membership for the Feng Shui Plus, because I will be doing more videos, more in-depth videos for all of my Patreons that are on there. Okay, so for now, this is your Kahu OniLuv, High Witch of Hawaii. Hugs and honeys. Mwah.